Hi everyone, this is Greg Doyle here for Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat. Coming to you guys under very different circumstances at the moment. As you'll all know, country's in lockdown, but we're not stopping talking boxing here at Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat. So video I want to come to you guys with today, it's part of Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat's series for the month of March, and it's called Marching On. So as part of this series, all the guys at Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat, we're picking our fighter who we see going on to World Honours. Now, that could have originally been 2020, but now, with everything that's going on, this is just who we see marching on to a world title, whenever that time it may be. So, fighter that I've chosen, those of you guys who know me, you'll know this fighter's like Marmite, but I've always been a big fan. I know that there's good points, bad points there, but my fighter that I've chosen for the series is Chris Eubank Jr. If I can give you guys a quick insight into Chris Eubank Jr, I'll try and get you guys to see what it is that I can see. And I know that a lot of people really rate Chris Eubank Jr. Just ask Carol Froch. Carol Froch has had tremendous spars with Chris Eubank Jr. And let's not forget, his only two losses were to two former world champions, one that's undefeated in Billy Joe Saunders and the other being in the recently retired George Groves. Marching on, for me, as I say, Chris Eubank Jr, reason that I've came to that conclusion is I think Chris Eubank Jr is a very underrated fighter. Could Chris Eubank Jr listen a little bit more and have made different steps in his career? Yeah. Couldn't every fighter? Yeah. So I think it's one of these ones, guys, where we really need to take a step back and look at the picture as a whole. He's got some tremendous names on his record. If you guys will have a look, he's beat guys like Spike O'Sullivan, he's beat Arthur Abraham, he has beat James DeGale, he's got some fantastic wins on his record, the most recent being Matt Korobov. Now, that was under extraordinary circumstances as Korobov got injured in the second round. For me, that was a fight that I didn't really want to see Eubank taken, and it's not that I didn't believe that he could win. I thought it was going to be a very tight fight, very tight. But I thought with Korobov's age that maybe Eubank would have just wore him down late on in the fight. But it was a no credit fight really for me. Korobov is a fantastic operator. He's only lost some really close fights, and he was knocked out by Andy Lee and he was a mile ahead on the cards after 4 or 5 rounds. Most consider him to have been robbed by Charlo when he fought Charlo for the world title. So he's a very good fighter, is Matt Korobov. But there's just something that I really like about Chris Eubank Jr. I would love to see Chris Eubank Jr. really settle down and listen profusely to a high level coach. I have seen recent videos of him training and learning from Roy Jones Jr. Again, those of you who know me, I think Roy Jones Jr. is the greatest fighter that's ever lived. I just think the guy's talent was unbelievable. Probably went on a little bit too long, but I seen him teaching Chris Eubank the jab, pull back, snap back in with the backhand, and I thought that's a beautiful move, and Roy Jones stopped so many people with that in his career. So really nice to see Chris Eubank sit and taking pointers from Roy Jones, but it's if he takes those pointers into a fight and if fights get tough, can he listen? He didn't have the longest and best amateur background, Chris Eubank. I think he only had around 20 fights as an amateur, if I'm correct in saying so. Won most of them, of course, but he's kind of been learning on the job in the pros, and a lot of the time learning himself. That's no disrespect to Ronnie Davis, it's just the kind of personality that Chris Eubank Jr. Is, as well as his dad. I just think that he really needed someone early on in his career to really be calling the shots. And to a certain degree, I don't know if he wanted that. I think he kind of liked the thought of being the guy that calls the shots, but for me, he needs to have someone encouraging him to work to a game plan in the corner. And if he can do that and stays at middleweight for me, of course, I think he's got a great chance at winning a world title. I think his engine, he's so exciting. He's got a fantastic engine. His combination punching is... I rarely think I've seen a Chris Eubank Jr fight that I've not enjoyed. I think he's all action. He holds a shot. He can give out a decent shot. He's not a huge puncher, but he can punch. Let's not forget that. We've seen the way that he knocked out probably someone else that I forgot to mention at the start of the video. A world champion in Avni Yildirim. He done a job on Yildirim, so he didn't. Yildirim went on to win the WBC world title, didn't he? So I just think that I'm hoping that Chris Eubank Jr can settle down with somebody, maybe even get Roy Jones in the corner, either on his own or with someone else, and really keep on top of him and make sure he's listening, because I don't know what it is, guys, but I really rate Chris Eubank Jr. People always going about, oh, he lost to Billy Joe Saunders. I don't know what fight a lot of people were watching. The fight that I watched is that Chris Eubank Jr gave away 6 rounds, and then the last 6 rounds he absolutely thumped Billy Joe Saunders from pillar to post, lifting him off his feet at times and things, but by then it was too late. You only had to give Billy Joe Saunders one of the last 6 rounds and he won the fight. So really interesting fight, that one, to see what people's opinions are on that one. I've read a lot of good opinions and a lot of questionable opinions, shall we say. But another fight that, the only other fight I should say that Chris Eubank Jr has lost is to George Groves, and I think George Groves outboxing Carl Froch probably twice. Let's not make a mistake with that. And it was a competitive fight that George won, but it just always feels like, because he didn't have a huge amateur background and because he's not had that dominant voice in his corner, that Chris Eubank Jr.'s always been learning on the job. Hence why I didn't think that a great learning fight was Matt Korobov in his last fight, but it turned out that there was a little bit of fortune there with the way it ended. As I say, Chris Eubank Jr could have went on and stopped him, but I think it would have been a very hard fight for him and difficult to see where he would get credit for it, apart from your hardcore fans. But for me, marching on to a world title is going to be Chris Eubank Jr. That's my choice. 29-2, Brighton, England. Fantastic fighter for me. A lot to learn, but there's an awful lot of raw ability there, and I truly believe that if he stays at middleweight, he will march on and win a world championship in the near future. Guys, just want to say thank you for watching the video. I think me coming to you on video, only guy that really comes to you guys via videos for Eat Sleep Box and Repeat, purely because we've got a lot of really talented writers and talented guys that do other things within the organisation. But I just feel a responsibility to say to you guys, just as a side note, stay safe, protect the NHS and stay home. Very important, guys. We'll get through this. It's going to take some time, but let's all just stick together, do as we're told, and before you know it, we'll be back looking ahead to boxing shows in the future. But recap, my marching on fighter in this series for Eat Sleep Box and Repeat, it is 29-2, Chris Eubank Jr for me to go on and win a world title. Guys, thank you, take care.